Hello, it is Robert Guderian, and today I basically just get to soapbox. This package is called Programming Practices, and you've already seen that there's a lot of ways to do the same thing. And as we go through this course, you're going to see there's even more ways to do the same thing than you might even expect. Not all of them are good. There's two commands or keywords that you're not allowed to use in this course. And this is partly because students before you have peed in the pool, and now we just have to say no to everyone. And in general, these two, break and continue, are used wrong. There is good times to use these. There are excellent times to use these. You never need to use these in this course. If I ever see one of these in an assignment or term test or quiz, I'm going to say, this is probably wrong. And I might even just dock marks just because I said, you can't use these. If this is the only way you know how to solve this problem, you're probably doing it wrong. So there's almost always a way to do this right that will allow for a better flow. And we can actually go back to our code that we saw yesterday, last video, possibly a minute ago when you watched that other video because you're binging these. Let's change this to actually use a break. So break will make us jump out of a while. So instead of saying we found it, what we can say is break. And then this while loop will stop running, and then I don't need this. So what I would usually see when marking an assignment is, or something, give me a string A, B, C, D, whatever. Found a C. And the second one did too. I should see found it twice, but I'm not. Oh, my index didn't get reset. Don't reuse variable names, that's why. Give me a string A, B, C, D, E. And there you go, found it on 2 twice. So it did stop running and broke out of this while loop. That's what it's called, break, and then got to here. But this code is nicer. This code will tell you exactly how many times this while loop will run. This one doesn't. This one makes you read the entire code paragraph and you say, okay, well, I know now because I read line 42 that this while loop will not run as many times as this might imply. Versus this one says exactly what the while loop is doing. This will run while we're in a valid range and while we have not found something. This one, you have to read the whole thing. And I actually hate this code. If I saw this code in a workplace, I would make my coworker rewrite it. There's no reason for it. And it causes what's called spaghetti code because your code starts jumping around, and especially if you have more than one break in your while loop and in different if statements, it's impossible to read and it's impossible to maintain because what's going to happen is this code's going to break in 6 months, and then you're going to have to read this like a new person that has not been steeped in what this code is for the last hour and will have no idea how it works, what it's doing, and what it's supposed to do. That is bad. And that is really you paying future versions of yourself some future goodness. Write good, readable code because you will read it again. Probably for future versions of you. Don't screw them. Continue. Continue will stop execution of the current iteration of the while loop and start it over again from the top. Why? All of a sudden they're nested and all of a sudden code isn't running from top to bottom anymore. It's not running in a predictable way to a human. The computer knows what it's doing. It's fine by the computer standards, but it's impossible to maintain. It gets nested. It gets gross. I don't know which one's going to continue. Do you have multiple continues? And it gets just bad. It's hard to read. And sure, I'm talking about you coding in the workplace, which there's actually a good chance you will. I know a lot of you are like, no, I'm not. I'm a civil engineer. I'm a chemist. I'm not going to do this. Actually, you're probably going to do a little bit of coding. Even if it's just in an Excel spreadsheet and doing some really advanced calculations, it's pretty much programming. So don't have code that jumps around. Don't do it. In terms of this course, even if you don't do it in the future, a grader or me or another one of the instructors has to read your code. And if we can't read it, guess what happens? And you can complain, well, it actually does work. And we'll be like, well, actually, it's really hard to read, so you still lose marks. So don't even worry about future versions of yourself. Consider current versions of yourselves. This is a fun flowchart from XKCD. You'll see these peppered all over the course. How to write good code. Start a project, do things right or fast. Those are generally the trade-offs. So you're going to do it really well or get it done. And in this course, people usually get it done, which is not a good thing. If you did it well, are you done yet? No. And you code well, throw it out, start over. Do you code fast? Does it work yet? Throw it out, start over. How do you write good code? You can't. Unknown. Sometimes it does feel that way. This is a little bit snarky and silly. That's it. Do not use break and continue. You now know they exist. And I know I will see them in this course. And you know I will be grumpy. So don't do it, please. See ya.